Okay, here in round one, and got a pretty good looking hand actually. Um, I don't mind finding our white mana on turn one either, necessarily, although mm, I guess I'll hold off on that only because I may need double black for Soul Flare. Although, Evolving Wilds is nice for Delve too. How did I not notice that? Alright, well, uh, we're going to deck thin first. Ooh, On Offense is a tough one. I got to Douse and Gloom that ASAP. That's another example of a card that Pacifism is not that good against. But next turn, ideally, we can Douse and Gloom that Anafenza. If not, we're in some pretty big trouble. Is that a foil one, too? Pretty nice. So hopefully our opponent plays something with 1 toughness or 2 toughness but buffs it instead of Anafenza. That's unfortunate. So may have to play. Hmm. God, pacifism on Anafenza just seems so bad. It really does seem pretty terrible. I guess I can Douse and Gloom the Manifest just to save us a couple damage next turn and get something off the board. All right. I think I'm going to Douse the Manifest. I mean, we're at least at Soul Flare mana now, which is nice. But still in a pretty bad spot until we can find like an ultimate price or a bunch of other removal, I guess. All right, well, looks like I'm going to have to pacify the Anafenza. Which I admit is not ideal. But it's better than taking 4 damage next turn. All right, let's yeah, I guess we pacify. So Swamp next turn would be good. Then we can at least cast Marshulk or Soul Flare. More likely than Marshulk. And then another land, and we can do Foe-Razer Regent, and I don't know, maybe fight the Anafenza, to be honest, but I guess it depends on what my opponent has at that point. All right. It's going to be a problem, but it's not game over. All right. That was actually a good draw. So now we can drop Marshulk, which at least either forces a bounce or removal spell, but puts a threat on the board nonetheless. That's a pretty good one. Next turn we get Foe-Razer Regent, possibly fighting on Offenza, although that does make the pacifism feel like a bit of a waste, but could also be we just find another creature I want to fight here. Alright, well, I believe it's Whisk Away, but I don't think that, I don't think I want to play around Whisk Away. I mean, here's the issue. If I don't play around Whisk Away, I take 5 damage, and me having the Marshal seems completely pointless. So, it could have been I should have just blocked the Youthful Scholar to prevent a damage, but that's okay. Let's, I think now we drop the Foe-Razer Regent, and I guess we fight this, yeah, I guess we fight this student. Could fight the Scholar, I just don't want him to draw the cards yet. I would rather him draw the cards on my terms a little bit differently. Like, I don't want him to have a pre-combat where he has the cards. I'd rather have him have a post-combat just for combat tricks and the like, but we'll kill the student. Like, I could see the benefit of killing on Offenza there since he still gets those bonuses, but fighting the student seems pretty good to me. And even if he has an artful maneuver, which it didn't look like he did, my guy still would have gotten pumped, so. So now I've got a decent option too. So we'll block. I mean, he gets to draw 2, but I'm not going to just continue to take 3 damage for the rest of the game, so we'll basically let him Divination, which is fine. Still has to find an out for a 6/7 flyer. And it has to be better than a bounce spell, because if it bounces, I just replay it and fight something else. Alright, Ultimate Price is a great draw. So I do have Ferocious, which means I have access to 2 for 8 mana, which means I could play this for 4 and morph this and then unmorph that next turn. Or I could leave up Ultimate Price, but I think actually we're fine swinging with Foe-Razer Regent first. If he has a kill spell for it, which I'm not exactly sure what that would be. The Destroy an Attacker. Then at least my Soul Flare can have flying, but it looks like he didn't have it, so we're going to do Soul Flare. And a morphed Marshulk. Could be Contradict here, but nope, okay. So I have Unmorph potential on Marshulk for next turn, which is good, and I have Ultimate Price for if stuff gets super hairy. I mean, I think I block. Alright, it's not that bad, actually. I think I'd rather, to be honest, I think I'd rather have my Soul Flare die than take 6 damage. I mean, I'm still able to crack back for a pretty significant amount of damage here. And I still have ultimate price. I don't even have to unmorph Marshulk. This puts him on a 2-turn clock regardless. So I think we're just going to play Artillerist. And then pass. Leave up ultimate price. Alright. Game actually panned out pretty well for us, and Foe-Razor Regent did an excellent job of being worth every penny of its 7 mana cost. It killed a student, got big, and got in for 12 points of damage. So well worth the 7 mana investment. And actually, you know, pacifying the Anafenza worked out relatively well, considering Anafenza is still a bolster on a stick for every future creature. So that actually panned out just fine for us. Sideboard options. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to pick up any naturalize effects, which is unfortunate. But I guess we do have a, that's not true. I guess we have the Survivalist, so we have a naturalized main deck, a better than naturalized in my opinion. So we're actually fine in that department. Radiant Purge, I don't think we saw anything multicolor. He seems fairly aggressive with the Anafenza. Unfortunately, we didn't get any flying destruction either, but I guess it doesn't really matter. We have some good hard removal, so let's just keep it the same, I think. I don't think there's anything I can see that's worth bringing in for the white splash or swapping in green or black. I guess Shape the Sands is hilariously enough a decent option. He's in blue-white, which would be just shocking if he didn't have some flyers. I assume he's got to have some. All right, let's keep this the same for now. All right. No green mana makes this hand slightly more awkward, but 2 of our 3 colors. I guess essentially Stampeding Elkhart and Press the Advantage are pretty much dead cards, but Dragonscarred Bear and Vulturous Haven are realistically things we could hope to cast. I think we're going to keep it. It's a pretty awkward keep, I'll admit. I think the fact that I could just rip a couple forests and make this hand like that and make this hand just significantly better made it worth the keep in my mind. Now I'm debating whether I want to even... Oh no, Anafenza again. She is certainly at her most powerful on turn 2. Okay, Artillerist isn't too bad of a draw. Alright, no 3-drop is good. I would love a Douse and Gloom removal spell of some sort. Pacifism again. It's not the one I was looking for. That's okay. Let's, I think I'm actually going to drop Artillerist here, which I would rather trade for a Anafenza than a Dragonscarred Bear. All right. Let's see what my opponent bolsters. Bolsters that. Okay. No attacks. All right. So we can play Aven here, but I'm not sure I want to sacrifice, to be honest. Could actually just play the bear. And what the bear does is potentially get me formidable next turn with Vulturous Aven, but I still won't be able to leave up regen. Might make more sense to play Aven, not sacrifice anything, and then next turn play bear, leave up formidable, but even leaving up formidable against something that's constantly getting bigger doesn't seem great. I think I'm going to swing with Artillerist to get the morph off the board. I think we're just going to be willing to make that trade, and then I'm going to drop Dragon Scarred Bear as an offering to Anafenza. Basically, I just want to get some creatures off the board here. I do wish I could play Press the Advantage for in case he blocked, but I'm actually more surprised he didn't block at all. Let's drop the bear now, just to get a bit more pressure out there. Another green mana off the top would be ideal, but we still have pacifism for whatever, I guess. Press the Advantage would also be very good if I could draw another forest. Would allow us to get in for a lot of trampoly damage. I'm just not sure the Vulturous Aven exploitability is going to be necessary. So opponent missed a land drop. I guess I should have noted that. If he attacks with both, we're certainly blocking Anafenza. I don't care if he has a combat trick. No attacks. Now that's interesting. Didn't get the green mana, but I think that's still okay. Guess we swing. All right. Wow. Wow. Got rid of a Stratus Dancer. Well, I mean, not that big of a deal based on our hand. It could have potentially countered a Press the Advantage, which would have been good, but for him, not for us. I could actually cast Survivalist to set up for an Aven, but I think we're just doing Survivalist, morphed, and passing. If our opponent has reduced in stature, still holding out for that, or even a monument. Breaking a monument with Survivalist now would be pretty detrimental for our opponent. First two cards our opponent plays are rares. It's pretty impressive. I actually hope it's a reduce in stature. That would be ideal. I'm going to block it too. If Anafenza attacks, we block, no questions. I mean, this could potentially just be a great trade for us, or force our opponent to have a whisk away. Should also be fine. I mean, opponent busts, Sandblast, whisk away, whatever. I'll take it. It's making our opponent tap out without putting a creature down. All right, well, looks like the trade happens, which is pretty good for us. And he doesn't get his bolster, which is also good for us. Okay. Lurking Erranks, I think, is just gonna be the drop here. Sets us up for like an Aven plus a pacifism, or just pacifism next turn and bash in. My only other play is like Vulturous Aven, but I think Erranks getting the best use of the mana here is ultimately worth it. I mean, Erranks can do a lot of work. It can. I think the card is not played too often, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I think Erranks is good. It looks like we're probably just going to be casting Aven, not exploiting. Getting an evasive guy seems fine. Alright, Ojutai Summons is decent, but we do have the Lurking Erranks. So if I can draw a land, and I have Vulturous Aven to block summons as well. I mean, it's good for him right now with the student, but I think we'll play Aven. No exploit. And I think we swing with both, and I can regen my bear. So we get in 3 points of damage, which is pretty significant here. Opponent could have some sort of bounce effect for Vulturous Aven, but we'll see if my opponent's got it. All right. It's not too bad. Deathwind, also good. So I can potentially Deathwind for 2 plus Lurking Erranks to force the Jin Monk to block. So let's think about this. I could force the Jin to block, but he could have a... Like, the safest way is just take out a 2/2. But he could have... I'm trying to think what he could have as a... Refocus or something. Could be like a Rite of Undoing. I'm not exactly sure. But, I mean, regardless, I'm going to use Lurking Erranks, so let's choose a creature. I guess I want to do the Monk. I kind of want to guarantee get a dude off the board here. I guess I can Pacifism Jin, force Monk to block, but then he could still triple block. Little bit of a precarious spot here. I guess I just force Let's make him have a 2-mana spell, I guess. I mean, getting rid of the Djinn is certainly significantly better. I think I swing here and here. Okay, so that will pump him. I'm trying to think if there's some way I can... It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. But I guess I'd rather lose a Deathwind than lose my Lurking Erranx at this juncture. So let's just neg-2 this. I attacked with the Vulture Saving because I didn't want him to... Basically didn't want him to block with everything on the Erranx, which I felt like would have been an easy block for him. Yeah, it's unfortunate I can't choose how to do my damage, so that did sort of suck pretty bad. But I guess I was just hoping my opponent did not have the Center Soul that he did in fact have. So we're going to take what can only be described as a ridiculous amount of damage here. So it's unfortunate, but just so happened he had Lotus Path Djinn plus Center Soul, which is unfortunate, which I've said about 1,000 times. So I wish I had second green mana. I feel like I could do a lot more with, but instead it looks like we're just going to take 9, which is also 50% of our life, which is pretty bad. I would go as far as saying awful, but can't do anything about it. So I guess we'll just resign ourselves to taking just a ton of damage. Unhappily, of course. And no plays. Alright, well, second white mana is also kind of a big kick in the face at the moment. Really not what we're hoping for in any way, shape, or form. Guess we're gonna bash in for 6 and pacify the Lotus Path Djinn. So ideally we can keep the monks at bay. I mean, Theoretically, if we survive... Oh, he's got more. Well, yeah, it's pretty awful. It's pretty awful. Hmm. Pretty obvious block. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Guess we force the general to block. If we can get a removal spell. Having that one green is really just pretty crippling. Alright, well, I think we got to do this. And bash in here. So, kill the general. Guess we can block student and take 4 and technically not be dead. Pretty good value he's going to get here, but not much I can do once again. So I wouldn't mind a removal spell off the top, I guess. Unfortunately, one short, even if which we did, get the green mana. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. We're one... Well, I mean, that's also assuming everything gets unblocked, which seems highly unlikely. So I guess that's okay. I guess the plan now is... Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. I can't... Yeah, it's pretty bad. Well, I guess our best play is Stampeding Elkherd. Hope we can chump block the Jin Monk. Even getting in with everything. Well, eight plus 4 is only 12. I don't know how to get lethal next turn based on this hand. I'm using too much time, which is also sad, but it's kind of a critical point in the game, you know what I mean? Pretty critical point here, which makes it much more difficult. Hmm. All right, I guess we do Stampeding Elkherd. I think at this point we're just hoping to draw some removal. I guess I could have left up Press the Advantage as a blocking option against the Monk. Yeah, that might have actually been better. Maybe I should have taken that extra second to think about that option, the defensive one, but I just sort of found him likely finding Whisk Away or something off the top, but... Yeah. Pretty good chance I should have just left up Press the Advantage. So this could come back to haunt me here, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like... I mean, granted, one of those 3 cards could be a Whisk Away still, or Sandblast, or plenty of other things, I'm sure, but like another Sinner Soul. There's actually a lot of things there could have been, but I still think Press the Advantage was likely the right choice, although maybe this works out okay for me. So Muck Draggers I can make 5 mana cheaper, which means I can cast it for 4, which means, yeah, I can do both. All right. Well, that doesn't seem too bad. Let's just swing with the Stampeding Elkherd. Did in fact have the Whisk Away, which means my play would have screwed me anyway, but obviously I can't use Vulturous Haven, but it does technically buy me another turn. I guess I know what I'm going to draw, though, so given that knowledge, I think we likely lose anyway? Yeah, I think we lose anyway, unfortunately. But we would have lost had I done the Press the Advantage, because he did, in fact, have the Whisk Away. So I guess even given my poor decision-making on not leaving up the Press the Advantage to block the monk, we still ended up having pretty essentially the same outcome. So I guess since I'm ahead of my opponent on the clock, might be in my best interest to just play it out as much as we can here. So a lot of elusive spell fists. All right, let's swing with these 2. All right, I don't mind my opponent using some more time here. I'm satisfied with that. Wish I'd gotten that sideboard -2/-2 to tokens. I think that would have been good. Youthful Scholar was the manifest. All right. Did I in fact get that? No, I didn't. Okay. Still haven't seen any multicolored stuff. I think we're just going to keep it the same and try again here. Could do Shape the Sands, I guess. Instead of nothing. I think we're fine. Let's try it again. Yeah, I guess we keep. Certainly a mana heavy hand, but having all 3 colors as well as being able to possibly cast the Soul Flare, I think likely makes it worthwhile. Alright, well, good news is if he drops Anafenza for a third game in a row, I at least have a turn 3 answer for it. Probably a Spell Fist, yeah. That's fine. Butcher, not bad either, to be honest. So let's get 4-1 down and pass. Let's Deathwind the Spell Fist here. Makes our Soul Flayer cheaper for next turn. And although, yeah, he's pretty good chance he's got a spell there, huh? Alright, well, let's just pass then. I mean, granted, I want my Soul Flayer to be cheaper, but at the same time. And yes, I understand we're close on clock, so it is pretty integral that I make good decisions here. Alright, well, I guess I can at least kill that. Opponent's deck is pretty insane. Still don't really want to make the trade. I've got formidable guys. Okay. Probably just want to exploit that. Ooh. Well, we're close to our Foe-Raiser Regent, so let's just butcher. Trying to debate whether I want to. I think I want a 3/3 more than a 4/1. This attacks better into a Spellfest. Artillerist just trades and possibly doesn't, whereas Spellfist, like Sinner Soul, isn't even, doesn't kill Butcher, so I don't mind that. Well, attacking into Butcher, I'm just going to take it. I don't see a lot of incentive to get my Butcher killed needlessly. Alright, so land here is ideal. I did get the land. Let's swing with the Butcher. Wouldn't mind seeing Center Soul. Alright. Let's Regent now. He doesn't have any mana up. And we'll fight the Morph. And it was a Stratus Dancer too, so it's a pretty good one to fight. And if Regent dies, I have Soul Flare to get flying, which is also pretty good. Okay. We can tolerate that. We can play Soul Flare plus Glade Watcher, so I guess I'll do that. Seems like the correct play. 3 cards left in our opponent's hand. Whisper as well, which admittedly is more of fodder for Valtry's Haven at this point. Alright. It's certainly not what I wanted to see, but... Yeah, sheltered area is honestly not what I wanted to see either, but... Gonna have to live with that. At least getting in 13 damage, which is pretty huge. Oh no. Alright, well, I think we might lose if my opponent's taking it. That's really not what I wanted to see. No attempt at chump blocking is pretty bad. Alright, so he's getting in for 5. Whisk Away's mana's not up though, which is good, I guess. My opponent's at 1. Alright. I mean, no real other options here. Alright, certainly didn't want to see that. So, guess we die to a pump spell. He's gonna have, he needs 2 more pump and he's got us. Alright. That might be enough. Well, maybe not actually. No, I don't think he can attack there. Oh. Alright. Well, now we can just fight his blocker, I guess, and win. Or just win without it. Alright, well. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't really scared there. I think if he'd kept everything back, I would have fought something and I only would have had 3 attackers, which means he would have had to make some bad blocks. So I guess he was, well, he probably should have bounced. What happens if I think he actually should have bounced Soul Flare. Granted, I still would have had the Foe Razor Regent, but he wouldn't have had to fight again. He wouldn't have had to worry about the fight again. Yeah, I think I would have bounced Soul Flare, and he would have been able to get in with Spellfist still, I think. He would have still had to do some fairly bad blocks, but I don't know. I mean, it wasn't looking good for him there. He very easily could have killed us with any sort of pump spell. We were definitely dead. So regardless, it was close. It was certainly. I mean, my heart's pumping pretty fast right now. So that was a close match, and our opponent's deck was really good. So I'm pretty satisfied with the win, but it was very close. So I'm sure that was enjoyable for you guys too. We'll see you round 2.